2. Welcome to the Friendly
Shawarma.
Actually, Angry Jordies podcast. I know you've all come here for the thumbnail and the title.
And we will dish the dough.
And what do we have to say about that, miss?
There's a lot to say. And by that, we mean absolutely nothing.
The reason why we're not doing this live is because we're afraid, because of a lot of you guys' negotiation tactics
are high level.
We'll spill something that we can't. Look, okay, this is what we'll say about this. Obviously, after the video was released today, you kind of know what's been happening. And there's a bit of a pause. And that's all we can say about that at the moment, except for the fact that there's 2 people in the organization, yours truly and Miss Love, who have defied the odds, and we're warriors. That's what we're saying.
We're
willing
really
to take bullets for you.
Really on the battlefront here.
Where everyone else
of talking about Trump and unrelated things. When
yeah, well, we're not brave enough to talk about that exactly.
There's not that much more that we can say, and would probably
there's a few. Look, no, we can't say anything about that, and don't even try to get more out of us because we will say it.
Exactly.
So, but I'm just happy that a little bit of load is offloaded from us. Actually, that hence Jordan isn't here. Where Jordan is, who knows? Who the hell knows?
Next door, maybe.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Don't pressure Miss Love to find out. Nobody knows.
They're not like I don't like do what YouTube comments tell me to do.
I know, but like if they meet you in person, still nothing. Okay.
They don't. Nothing. Yeah. No, they don't meet me in person.
Yeah, but what else? Yeah, except that we're just appreciate us for being brave.
Yeah. Very brave. Young upstart YouTube friendly shawarmas.
Look, there's a lot of darkness around, but we are beaming with light. And so we will start our podcast.
It was pretty much clickbait, but now that you're here, hang around and learn a thing or two about whatever else we're going to chat about.
Actually, Miss, let's start with the first segment today, and this is something that you might have a thing or two to say. Did you hear about there was a proposal to change the copyright law to give AI companies free reign? Have you heard about that?
I heard about this, but it was shot down or something? Something good happened. Yeah.
So, well, I mean, it was, look, I think they were teasing. There's a lot of pressure from tech companies to essentially allow them access and use of data produced by people from content creators, and it'll help their machines learn about the content better so they can like cater. Anyways, it's just it's data mining. It's like they just want data to like
Spotify actually does that.
That's what I was thinking, man. Like I know that man, I would not be, because I think what's happening is that a lot of these platforms that we use, well, I don't know why I did that. They are platforms. But a lot of these platforms that we use to upload our stuff, I don't know how much of it, according to them, belongs to us.
Yeah, it's sus as. It's bizarre.
They are probably selling it, dude. It'd be so much money. Like,
I know.
Trillions of dollars being invested in AI. AI is looking to use data to train itself better.
Yeah. It's scary because it's...
How... if you were the owner of Spotify or any big platform company, are you resisting like billions of dollars of offers just to have a sneak peek at the data that you have stored?
I mean, look, I'm a and the bottom rung here, like struggling musician. So like I this is like the one thing that I'm most ethical about. So like I would be like, screw you. But like, dude, like these like tech giant. I don't think, put it this way, I don't think Spotify are passionate about music, considering they don't even pay the artists basically a pittance to put out their like original music. But like I wouldn't do it. But it is screwed. It's there's a massive backlash right now with Spotify. Like,
well, this is the other thing, Miz, that I wanted to bring up is that well, first of all, I 100% agree with you. I'm not in agreement with the proposal, so I just want to get that out straight. But what I also feel is that when it comes to creatives, at least you see a public backlash to their data being sold just because they have the marketing outreach. So if a celebrity's data is stolen by a big tech company to learn from it, that celebrity has the ability to go into like make tweets about it, has like a public platform.
Yeah.
The Senate is way more interested in like some celebrity coming in talking about like how it's bad.
Yeah.
But there's so much other data that is not by creatives
Yeah.
that we're putting out, like individuals.
Even just like Facebook.
That's all. Like, there's no one to even stick up for that.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement, but I just feel like this is such a big issue that even if you like have these policies of like, well, you can't take stuff from creatives. Like, okay, first of all, they're probably going to get to it somehow. But secondly, what about everyone else? Like everyone else that's not a celebrity.
I suppose it's inevitable, but it is like, I'm still getting my head around it. I understand the music thing because it's like training AI to, it's like, this is this kind of music and just to emulate it. But that pisses me off a lot. But the Facebook thing, it pisses me off too. But like, isn't that mainly just to cater advertising to people more? Is that basically what it is?
That was the initial purpose.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there's already been an exodus off Facebook.
You know what AI is going to argue? Like, eventually it'll tell celebrities that if you let us analyze your data, we'll be able to give you such great guidance about how to make your content better.
Yeah.
So, for example, Miss, imagine if some AI company came to us and proposed, you know what? Give us all of the data that you've ever produced on the podcast channel. Yeah. And we're like, okay, what do we get out of it? What we'll do is we'll analyze that data, we'll correspond to which episodes did really well, which particular type of podcast, and we'll give you an outline of what is the best segments.
I guess it's not all bad.
That's the thing. Immediately you're like,
That's like a tool, a helpful tool.
Yeah. But that would be their way of even. So like what I'm trying to say is either they'll try to buy it off of you.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. I mean, in most cases, they'll take it without even you knowing. But in high profile cases, they'll try to buy it. If not, then they'll try to sell you some amazing thing, you know? Like give you superpowers. Like with this, you'll have some superpowers in content creation.
The thing that scares me more is like, it's not like the immediate future with that stuff. Like that's, I suppose it can be used. Like I understand how it can be useful to that degree. It's like insider knowledge almost on the stats. But the thing that scares me is like in the not too distant future where, you know, they'll be able to be like, hey, like we can do an AI pod with both of your voices that have just been like analyzed. It's like you don't even have to really do anything. You can just it can just be automated. It's like it won't be exactly right because it's not human, but it's like super close. And so like this dystopic future of like sort of like AI emulating media designed specifically for your audience. It's like it's just scary to me. It's like everything can be automated. Like even music, it's like, oh, here's a song you'll like. It's like we did a blood test, we can tell, and it's like it's scary. That's scary.
My view on this particular topic is that obviously they'll have the capacity to produce podcast music and everything of that sort. Anything that creatives are doing, they'll be able to give a version of that, even if the version isn't good. But I think, dude, that creative jobs, and I'm not just saying this because I promise to you this is a genuine view of mine. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. But I think that these kind of jobs, music, podcasting, content creation, well, not content creation per se, but just generally these specific things are going to not necessarily be replaced by AI. And I'll tell you why.
Really?
Not that the AI doesn't have the capacity to do this. It's because essentially I think the last jobs would be ones where humans would much prefer other humans doing it.
Yeah, there's still that human like
there's a lot of jobs where humans would be okay or less resistant to the idea that machines are doing it. For example, like when you call into a call center. Now, I'm sure there's people out there like, I just want to speak to a normal person, right? They exist. But then there'd be a lot of people who's like, okay, if the system is efficient, I don't want to speak to a proper person as long as I get a resolution, right? So these are the jobs that I think are easily going to be replaced. But when it comes to, for example, seeing a doctor specialist, now I am 100% confident with AI and robotics, you'll be able to do diagnostics without human involvement, right? However, I think that humans will always want to eventually see a person to be able to discuss these things with this. So I think that job, even though technically could be replaced, is going to be the last, if ever, replaced. And same thing applies to musicians. Now, I know that AI can make music that's even better.
It probably
but
can.
I know from my own feelings as a human, because we're all humans, even if the music is amazing, I would not want the fact that it's not created by humans diminishes its value for me completely.
Massively.
So the idea that everyone's going to be listening to AI music, I think, is a bit of a stretch. I think we know enough about humans to know that is an unacceptable sort of scenario.
I think you're right.
But you have to question yourself.
Yeah.
Is the job that I'm doing, is that something that humans will be very, very against? Being AI, or can it be something that's acceptable? Like, for example, things like, teaching, I think.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, AI is going to aid education in a dramatic way.
I guess so,
right?
Yeah.
And it already is.
Is it?
It already is, yeah, obviously. Like, a lot of the curriculums and stuff are AI. Like, a lot of the submissions are now AI. So there's a lot of...
Yeah, the submissions.
And obviously, with, like, remote learning post-COVID, we understood that, like, even classrooms.
Yeah.
But I think... parents will always want a teacher figurehead. Now, that teacher figurehead will be aided by a lot of AI tools, but they would want a figure to be there.
Yeah.
Sometimes almost in the sense of like fake responsibility. I need someone responsible who I can go to. I can't go to a machine and be like, hey, my kid failed. What did you do?
Yeah, totally.
For those kind of reasons. So I think
point.
Like
so
the creative area is perhaps not as threatened. Now, these creatives will be aided by AI a lot. Like at some point you will think to yourself whether this musician that I really love, how much of this is a creation by this person?
Yeah. Like, that's true.
And so that will happen. But then, but that doesn't mean that the person is usually it'll be a lazy content creator or celebrity.
Yeah.
Depending too much on AI, but still rubber stamping their name for it to seem as if it's human. But I think that's the reality that we're more inclined towards.
The human
but
touch.
But these jobs are like maybe 5-10% of jobs. There's 90% jobs that I think can be and probably will be replaced.
So you think the ones that actually have like a human, like a human desire, or an audience has a human desire in it, they're going to be still interested in it. Okay, because that would be a helpful, a somewhat positive. Like what?
I don't know if it's positive. I think it just safeguards some sectors, which I think for you, because just you go to see an orchestra. Just think about it. You go to Sydney Opera House and you see an orchestra, right? There's 50 people playing a piano. There's like the whole thing, whatever it is. I don't know how it works, but there's that. You go and watch
piano and did the violin.
Yeah, I don't know. Even as someone like me who's not a massive music fan, dude.
Yeah,
I sit there and I would be in awe of it if it's a good show.
Yeah.
If you replace that entire thing with like robots and machines, dude, I'm out of there.
I'm out too.
Immediately out of there.
It's
not because I hate machines or anything. It's just like, this has it's not inspiring enough.
But the thing that scares me is like, if it continues, it might get quote unquote better quality than humans, and then like, look, maybe it would have a novelty effect, and there'd be like a dip in like, a bump up in popularity. But you're right. Even if there was a novelty factor, I think after not too long, it would be a thing of like, dude, these are still robots. There's no connection to it.
But even the idea that like it's better than you, I think that still doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So like, imagine you watch State of Origin, right? New South Wales versus Queensland. Millions of people watch it. It's a big ticket event.
No imagining needed.
Now, if two robot teams, New South Wales Robotics versus Queensland Robotics, imagine if they were going. Now, they could be way better. At this point, they're not. But imagine they're way better than any human being could be.
Oh, my God.
Like, they're faster and everything. Do you think millions of people would go to a stadium to watch that event? After people will watch it for novelty initially, so they'd be like,
it's a huge novelty.
But once the novelty wears off, it's not inspiring.
I think you're right.
I think part of the reason why we look at sports people is like they're able to do something that we aren't, and we wished we could. But they're still human. They're testing their human limits to reach it. Even if like technology starts aiding it a bit too much, we ban it in sports.
Yes, that's true.
You know, like if a bat
That's
in
true.
cricket is a bit too bad, like
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
If it's too easy to use,
if it's too easy,
we want the struggle.
Exactly, we want the
Yeah.
struggle. So I think, like for example, sports people can't be
Yeah.
replaced by
I think
AI and robots, even though AI and robots will be infinitely better than
That's
human
true.
sports people. You know?
And I think there's something. Oh God, it's sad that this is even a conversation, but like with music, there's a spontaneity in live performance and in recording. There's so many elements that happen in a way that probably could be replicated, I guess, but you know, there would. I think even if it's really advanced, there's be like a 0.001% chance that a human would do it differently, but just because you can't. I don't think you can map out human predictability exactly. There's always, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like robots can't take ketamine and drink a case.
Well, that's why they need your data for AI to be good enough.
To be
to
good
do
enough,
that.
yeah.
Like the more data AI has,
Yeah, it can
the
get better.
more
Yeah,
it can learn those specific human things.
I
So,
really don't like it. I mean, like I'm seeing stuff now where people are saying like, just get off all streaming services and buy like vinyl and go to. It's like the ultimate act of rebellion now, just to like buy something analog and see some local band. It's like the biggest, most rebellious thing or something. What do you think of I know this artist that like I hate it, but like he uses a lot of AI art for his music that he released because it's free.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, my problem with AI art at this point now is it all looks like AI art.
It's still novelty.
It's
at
still
the
novelty,
moment. You know, like
yeah.
when they say like, oh,
Yeah.
an AI TikTok lady in China is the most popular TikToker.
Yeah,
and it's completely fake. And I was like,
It's a novelty.
yes, but they're doing it because it's AI. When like every channel is AI, they're not gonna want to do it.
Exactly.
So the novelty will wear off.
Yeah.
And then like all that's left is the utility that it provides. Now, if that utility doesn't depend on humans to be like, oh, I want it to be a human to do this,
Yeah.
it's going to get replaced by AI. But that causes a huge, like, it's easy to say like, oh, 90% workforce is going to be redundant. But that not only creates issues for the 90% of workforce, obviously they're unemployed, but it creates issues for the remaining 10% as well. Because like, if robots are making iPhones, they're not earning money to buy those iPhones. Robots don't use iPhones. People use iPhones. So if 90% of the workforce is laid off and can't afford iPhones, who's buying the iPhones? If iPhones aren't being bought, then the 10% that are using their technology to do this are also not benefiting. So this is a it's not like there's no smooth transition into this, even with massive poverty. This is going to rejig the entire system. So then you're going to have to be giving options of a universal basic income. You're basically going to have to give, you know, free money to people.
Yeah.
Otherwise, their own system doesn't work. So I'm just like, everything is a bit open right now. There's no like set destination for this yet.
Like straight up, what jobs are just going to go?
Oh my God. Well, a lot of jobs have already gone. So like I don't know. For example, in my, like not mine, but lawyers, most lawyers, graduate lawyers that are hired aren't like, you know, barristers going and so what they're, a lot of them are doing, they're like, they're working at law firms and they're, let's say doing contractual reviews. So their client is going into contract with another entity. These people are proofreading those contracts, making sure that there's no term that is bad for their client. Then they usually pass it on to someone senior. Then they have a look at it, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's how the process is. So that initial thing, which is the army of lawyers that do stuff like that, completely unrequired.
Really? Because it can just be done.
Because it can be done. It can be done through AI.
Yeah. Damn.
Right? So those kind of jobs. When it comes to like factory workers, like data entries, like anything that's you know, repetitive is the first one. In fact, I think I would argue those are already kind of gone. Like you're a bit too late in that game because they will be the first one to go.
What about stuff like journalism?
So again, journalism is an interesting one. So like obviously a lot of journalists will lose their jobs. That doesn't mean journalism as a whole.
Yeah.
I think like because you've got tools that will be able to analyze all news coming out of it, coming in the world, and it'll be able to give you the perfect editorial for your next day. Like pick up the news stories based on what viewers like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So you will have a lot. So humans technically do this. Like, you work for news.com, you're looking for stories, you're writing this fluff piece or whatever. A lot of this job can be done by computers. So, but the editorial member who decides what it's going to be on news reporting that requires, like a journalistic faith.
Yeah.
So it's not that all journalists are gone. It's like, I think most journalists will be unrequired.
Yeah.
But then like a fair few would still be needed.
Okay, what else? What else is going? I'm curious.
Accounting, a lot of accounting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because that can just be automated. Yeah. Shit, my mum's an accountant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll still need for the longest time. I think like you'll have what you're gonna have is like initially for things like accounting, you're not gonna like lay off those people.
Yeah.
You're gonna.
It'll start fusing. They'll start using those tools.
So then they'll use those tools. To inform them, they're gonna get like shitter at their own job because they're depending too much on the tools.
Naturally.
But I think that status quo is going to remain for some time.
Right.
And then, but like the number of accountants might go down. What 3 people were doing now, 1 person will do, but there's still 1 person doing it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Just it'll be a slow reduction. I mean, the stuff that's like data entry, it's like, man, no, does anyone want to do that?
Well,
shit
that's
anyway?
another point. I think like for a lot of like the more I see like AI in our own field.
Yeah.
For example, like when we're making thumbnails or whatever, there's like a lot of tools that you can now use, and there's heaps of stuff.
Massively.
There's things like AI software can basically listen to our entire pod, give a brief summary that you can use as advertisement. It can even write down some of the chapters.
That's helpful.
It's all paid, but like that's the service that you. So when I look at that, I don't go like, oh my god, my job is useless. I think like humans don't need to do this. Like we can use these as tools.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
some of them are
just because like the physical hammer and like there's another electric one comes along. I shouldn't be like, but what about like? It's okay. Like that human labor can be utilized somewhere else.
Yeah, if there's stuff that doesn't completely like suck up the job, but just aids you. But it does kind of freak me out, like a mate of mine who as well, like he's just like constantly using ChatGPT and stuff, but in a way it's efficient because he'll be like he'll use it to generalize something, like help me do, and then he'll take the main points and then sort of like deduce what he can from that and then move on to like, it's like a time saver, and it is helpful. But I'm such a Luddite that I'm just like, nah. You gotta, like, my whole thing is just like, I just don't.
It's a bad way to do research. I will say this.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%.
Because like, I'm an outlier in that like, I'm one of these people that like, if I need to do something, anything, I just sit down and do it from scratch. It's like write a song, no aid from anything, or any like, even if it's like write an essay, it's like, oh, you can get some generalized points. I'm like, I'm not going to do. It's just not. But
I mean, there's nothing wrong in getting generalized. Okay, so this is how I like it. When we started uni, right back in the day, before AI, even when we were in high school,
I would be using it if I was in uni. I bet.
I know, but we had something that was similar that our previous generation didn't. So, which was every time you would go into a class, and anyone that's been to uni or even high school will know that this was a conversation that was had. Wikipedia is a good tool to get a general understanding, but if you reference Wikipedia, you are failed. If you get now, imagine.
Once I referenced Wikipedia in high school on a presentation because you had to have our sources, and I sourced Wikipedia, and I got in a lot of trouble. And I was like, I didn't think I was sourcing Wikipedia. I think it was an accident.
It wasn't. It's not even that.
But I got in trouble. She was like, "Why you can't?"
The reason why you get in trouble is not because you found a cheat code. If I was a professor, I don't care about the cheat code. I'm fine with you, whatever. But the problem is Wikipedia as a source is not a good one.
No, so like, it's not a source.
So now you might think what you've written is correct, but Wikipedia has a lot of room where it gets some stuff wrong. And I think same thing applies to ChatGPT. It's
a similar thing.
It's exactly the same thing. If like, I would never tell a student, don't use ChatGPT. I was like, it's a good source to get some basic understandings, right? Otherwise, you'll have to go into like a lot of stuff, make up your mind about. But if you only depend on ChatGPT,
Yeah.
which, by the way, you would do more and more if you get into the habit of doing this.
People do it exclusively.
Then what you're reading, you don't necessarily true if it's you don't know if it's actually correct or not, or maybe it is a view of someone, but your entire knowledge is based on just this, Zuckerberg's version of what the reality of things are. What I would, this is what I do. Even now.
Tell me, because I'm like in the thing of like I don't even touch it, but that's just because I'm like. I'm a weirdo. Like I'll go on I still use my iTunes. Okay. I show people, they laugh at me. I still have I still listen to music. I have Spotify now, but I listen to music. I have a library of music that I've put on my computer via CD since I was like a kid. And I still have that because I like having something that isn't connected to, that can just be gone without.
But I am not of that. I'm not an anti-technology.
No,
like you should use
that's just me.
ChatGPT in every modern tool that you can.
Yeah.
But you need to first figure out how can I utilize this tool in the most effective way.
Yeah.
If your understanding of this tool is like, okay, I can just copy paste it, I don't have to do. It's not even the problem that you were lazy. The problem is like your finished product is going to be horrible because ChatGPT isn't good enough for you to get get a full complete understanding. It's not a portal to God.
Yeah.
It's a technological tool that is created that reads some information and gives you a synopsis of what it feels is correct, right? It might not be correct. It might be half correct. So what you need to do is, even if you use ChatGPT, read the initial bit, but then you cannot just end it over there. You haven't figured shit out. You need to go through all of the different websites that are also coming up. Read through them. If you do look at ChatGPT, it's not giving you references. Ask for references. Where are you getting this information from? Once it gives you that reference, check on that reference. Is this even correct? Did it read? And you'll realize that about 40% of the stuff on ChatGPT is actually incorrect.
Right. It's not unlike Google, really.
It's not unlike Google, but at least with Google, it didn't give you what it believes. It gives you different sources. Then you can go through. There's an understanding that sources can be completely incorrect. If it's Infowars.com, you need to take it with a grain of salt.
It's perfect,
But the thing is, like, ChatGPT we have this like understanding of some metaphysical thing that just knows everything. And it's way better. It's like, that's not the case.
Yeah. That's a good way of thinking.
Maybe in future it will be, but man, it is not the case right now. So if you are basing everything on ChatGPT, you are not learning anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's I think that's the problem. It's like, I mean, look, for me, it's just whenever there's a big technology shift, it freaks me out because it's like, I think things are helpful. If something can cut your time and help, like, it is helpful, but I'm just the kind of person where like I'd rather just go deep initially or don't do it at all. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I'd rather just like dive into something in the slow way, and as opposed to just skimming it. Like it's like for me it's like a pointless step or something. I'm like, I don't need to.
Yeah, like you belong to a community of people that are a bit hesitant. You know? Tech hesitant,
massively,
which is that we don't know the negative repercussions of it, so we shouldn't blindly just go into it.
I'm like,
we'll have to wait and see what the negative. And that's right, because like if you look at how social media has evolved, people that didn't completely put themselves in are in a better position. Like they have, man. Someone said like, there's not a lot of competition anymore. 97% of the people are too focused on their algorithm.
Right.
Like if you can get out of it, you have infinitely more time than everyone else to study, do whatever you're doing. And I think so like hesitancy is good in some regards,
just how I am,
but it also has the negative of you not being able to adapt to new realities, because you can get into a zone where you are like, for example, some older people who didn't go into smartphones are like, I like my, now they're really old. They're in their 70s and 80s. They can't even use it. And the thing is, because they never got onto the smartphone or the computers, well, one, they get scammed, but also like more than scam, they're unable to pay their bills. They need some, like they need their grandson. So there is like, there's a fine line. There's a advantages and disadvantages to both things. Yeah. I think this is my view. This is how I look at it. It's like, okay, any new technology comes, I am not going to reject it outright. Yeah. I'm going to look at it and try to understand how this technology can be used to my advantage and how this technology is hampering my productivity or my ability to be able to have the most nuance. Exactly. Which is hard to do because, you know, you're not God where you sit down and it's like, okay, this is good, this is bad. But you have to do it based on your own understanding.
Yeah.
But the best way to do it is not to like completely go all in on something.
Yeah.
Have a multiple methodologies of how you do something. And then eventually I think you'll strike the right balance or you'll figure out what's bad about something and not.
You know what I'm like a bit of it. One thing I'm a hypocrite about though, that is because it's the only example I can have is like, well, anyway, as an example, music, right? Making music. This is one thing that like, obviously everyone's saying, you know, like AI in music is like intense and I think it is scary and all of that. But even from like the jump, for instance, to the advent of like analog tape, right? Which was everything up until the 80s. Dude, the difference just purely, I literally don't know how people, I do, but it sort of scares me to think how people were just making music in that format. Because if you don't, if you did utilize it that way, it would just cost so much more money. Because if you wanted to edit on tape, you have to pause the tape, draw a line on the tape with pencil, cut it, re-record something, tape it onto it, like physically sticky tape it onto another piece of tape, rewind, then re-record. It was like, and then the tape costs money. It's like the whole thing is just an expensive.
But they did it before. How did they do it before?
That's how they did it before.
Yeah, but like, wasn't it expensive before too?
See, I think it was just like, it was expensive before, definitely.
But there was no other option.
Yeah, and it was kind of like there was just less. So it was like you had to play for maybe 10 years before, I don't know, or something, or get picked up by a label or someone that's funding it to get in a studio and be super incredibly tight. Because like we've been recording and like, you know, we're super tight. We've got the songs and everything. But even now, we're like trying to chop a song up right. We haven't even recorded it to click, which is like a click track. So that makes it way easier. So that's already a little bit, but that was a huge thing too. Like doing it to a click, it's on a grid, you can edit it. But like thinking about if we didn't have like Pro Tools is like a program that was invented, I don't know, in the 80s or 90s. And it's just there's easy ways to edit stuff now. So like we have a song and the engineer was like, I reckon we should cut out a verse and a chorus. And then someone else was like, maybe I reckon cut out the last chorus. You can literally just go click, export, and then we have that version. And, you know, it saves like $1,000 of another day in a studio, cutting a tape, re-recording it, exporting it from a tape onto a digital thing, listening to it, deciding, do we want the original or not? It's so much work. So it's like, some of these advantages, the sort of like the progressions on technology and music has been like insane. Like even stuff like, you know, all music here is like analog, big metal boxes with transistors and transformers and different parts, and it's expensive. Like it compresses like $10,000. Now they have these plugins where it's all digital versions, and like, man, like the difference now is like negligible. It's like almost, and I just want to like, I'm like, kiss the the ground with that shit because it's like far out, dude. It would be so much harder. Like even like, yeah, those things are crazy. Like oh, it's like this my pitch is a little bit off in this note, and you can just like pinch it to like pitch it up a semitone or less, and it just sounds better. And it's like some people would say that's cheating, but it's like, dude, unless you have like 20 grand easy, it's just be so hard. So like in that sense, I'm like, dude, thank God. 'Cause it's still a shit ton of work, and it's like you're not skipping any of the steps really. Well, you're skipping some, but it's like, fucking hell, it would be hard. So like those advantages are insane, you know?
Yeah, and those advantages don't really hamper music.
No, they help.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And it's like,
and so I think that's
a fine line. There's a fine line, but it's like, dude, it's like, oh, that stuff. I don't know if I could do it otherwise. I'd probably have half the shit done now. I'm like, okay, dude, we have to re-record this. That's another $1,000 in a studio. Then do this, then this, or whatever it is. That shit. Oh my God, it's like incredible. So that kind of stuff does. I'm like, I'd be a hypocrite to be like, screw technology. I'm like, dude, it's like, thank God on that side of things, you know?
Yeah, and I don't want to sound like an old boomer when I say this, but like, you know, it's up to every individual. If you want to use AI to watch like porn simulations.
That's fucked.
Or if
That
you
is
want to
insane.
use AI to get better at whatever craft you're working on,
Yeah.
you can.
AI porn
a-
is just
It's the same thing as like, well,
Why?
yeah, dude, and like, and,
Why?
well, because every human being on earth has vices,
right.
and
People watch that?
it's like giving someone drugs.
Yeah.
It's like how, like people are already into porn,
Yeah.
like they're loners, and now you're saying like, how about we cater your perfect girlfriend that's gonna come in this virtual reality world to you? Now you need some intense willpower to be like, you know what? I haven't had sex in fucking ever, and that sounds amazing because I am addicted to Pornhub, but I'm not gonna say yes to that.
Yeah,
It
that's
requires some willpower to do this.
yeah, like whenever you see those ads that's like AI porn and it's just like man, this is so weird and bizarre, I yeah, there's certain avenues like that where I'm like, I'm scared for the future. I know someone that had like a long conversation with like AI or something, and it's like, dude,
Like one of the biggest uses for AI amongst Gen Z and Gen Alpha
I no.
is using AI as a therapist. So they'll
Really?
ask questions that you would
Right.
ask a therapist, or in our case, back in the day, you'd go to your parents or someone, or like, if you or your friends who probably gave you the worst thing ever, but that's how you had to do it.
Yeah.
Now kids are just
AI.
essentially making AI
Wasn't there
therapists.
a kid that like killed himself?
Yeah, there's those cases too.
How did
I don't
that
know
hap-
exactly. I don't want to go into details because
Yeah.
I don't know enough about those cases of how they prompted. But you've heard those stories, so I don't want to speculate too much on that because I don't know exactly the details.
Yeah.
But that's what kids are using it for.
Is that?
And I think
that
it's not just therapists. It's like the elephant in the room isn't. It's like
Yeah.
it's loneliness.
Shit.
People
yeah.
are looking for friends.
Yeah.
That's what's happening there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the wrong. To me, like I said, I'm the wrong. I'm just such a like. I'm gonna be that boomer with an iPhone one day, being like, "How does ChatGPT make me? I want to be able to like digitally travel to Pakistan or whatever, and like I'll be left in the. I'll be one of those people. So I'm like the wrong. I'm so on the other side, but there's something I'm inherently skeptical and like weary of that side of technology because it seems like creepy to me, But I can see that I can see how it could be helpful to a degree because it's just like it's going to give you an answer.
But you've got to like put things into perspective. Every technology, particularly big technological changes, have been accompanied by hesitancy.
I know.
Like I don't know if
It's like the printing
when I was a
press.
kid, I don't know if they did that in Australia, but when I was a kid, they used to make us read like old romantics,
Nah.
these poets from like 1700s and 1600s and 1800s.
They probably should have done that.
Like William Wordsworth and Lord Byron. I don't know if you. That's like I don't know, like in Pakistan, because I guess we're ex-colonial. They used to make us read these. But I remember like this was interesting. I can't remember which poet it was, but I remember reading an entire poem, which was about like how the world is bad, collapsing, blah blah blah, and it was like how things
Printing
used to be a
press.
lot better and it's not better.
They used to think...
And I remember like when I read up on it. So what this poet was describing was he was living through the Industrial Revolution. And so he's talking about like how there was this romanticism with farming and now everything is becoming a city and there's like smoke and there's the Industrial Revolution has come with a hollowing out of society. So what I'm saying is like
There's a
every
parallel.
big technological change comes with hesitancy.
Yeah.
In fact, there's this sociologist called, if I'm not wrong, I remember reading this when I was in uni or high school.
Yeah.
His name's Alfred Adler.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong, Google him. But he was a philosopher who argued that all change in society, every change in society, is driven by technology.
It's true.
Yeah, and like even what we believe to be social and political ideas are a consequence of the technological advancements of that point.
It makes sense.
Which is why some people argue that this fractured world that we're living in today has nothing to do with, how society is going. It's a consequence of social media. The invention of social media, it changed so many things, which is why like they argue that the invention of printing press caused the great Protestant and Catholic Civil War. You know, like millions of people died because you were able to transmit these ideas that were consolidated amongst the priestly caste. You weren't like most people living in Europe did not have the ability to, first of all, read the Bible. They were always told what the Bible was about. And even if they figured some things out, had very little ability to propagate their ideas except for just, you know, go about saying. But once with printing press, you could write these ideas and send them all over. And also the Bible. The people could actually read the Bible and say, like, hang on a minute, my Catholic priest has been like lying to me this whole time because of the power dynamics and stuff. So it created such a big earthquake in the world that it killed half of Germany.
That's crazy to think that.
And so
it's the same thing. It's like that like you're right. It's like social media like has, you know, increase in depression and all, like, I don't know, anger or whatever. It's like it's the same sort of thing. Because now it's the same theory, but it's just like intensified because you can see what's happening on the other side of the world instantly, like you're there. So it is like a crazy. It's kind of. I do get that it is like it's an inevitability. I kind of get, and I know that there was that guy, like, you know, that was saying like when the written word was when we were writing things down, there was people saying this is the end of society because people aren't going to they don't have to think anymore. They don't have to retain information by just speaking. They can read it, which seems now like crazy, but it's not. It's the same kind of reaction. It's just that the stakes now are so much more intense. Well, not even more intense. It's just the same shit, just in a different way. Yeah, it is strange. I mean, it does make me hopeful though, thinking that, like you said, like humans still do crave a human element to things. Like when it is stuff like data entry, who cares? But I would like to think if it is something like an emotional perspective or an original sort of idea is that'll still like come to the forefront. But I do get scared of the day when it will be indecipherable. Like you can't even tell.
Yeah, and it is, man.
It's going to be strange.
We'll see how it goes because I don't know exactly how this is going to shape.
Yeah.
But you know, we're all in it for the ride.
It's just
we're all going to be. Hopefully, we'll live long enough to see how this page, you know, ends or at least matures.
Do you think? Are you into this idea of boycotting streaming services though, or no? Because a lot of people are now. Because what's his name? The CEO of Spotify, he was investing in like drones, military drones. But then his defense was like, yeah, but this is to arm Europe against Russia. I don't know. There's
a lot of evil people walking about that are like all of these. Like, I don't know if you've seen this new guy. He's doing the rounds. He's the one who invented Oculus. You know those like glasses?
Isn't that Zuckerberg?
The virtual reality. Well, no, it wasn't Zuckerberg. It was some dude who can't remember his name, but he invented it. He started working for Zuckerberg as well.
Right.
And then he got, I don't know, according to him, he got fired because he donated to Republicans. This was when Zuckerberg was also a Democrat. Anyways, what he does now is he's essentially doing what Elon Musk did with SpaceX, but with military technology. So he's developed these. He's actually we've developed with him in Australia these robotic submarines. These robot drones and all powered by AI. Anyways, he's going all over the world and he's saying like how everybody needs to give him money, otherwise we're all screwed. There's a lot of those like, dude. There's at the end of the day, he's a weapons dealer. Like these people are weapons dealers. You have to
pretty much
understand
everyone now. Anyone that is making billions.
I'm sure Nicolas Cage from Lord of War, if you've seen that movie, if you haven't, then you check it out. Claims that he was helping, ethnic groups that were fighting. There's always reasons, but like you can never control how your weapons are used. You know?
And it's not. It's like I think the argument is it's like there's no democratization of these technologies. You know, because it's just like
this is something that he says. It's like he's looking for investment. So he's saying like, look at Ukraine, what Russia did. I was like, so he's using those emotional strings to just be like, now everyone give me billions of dollars so I make these weapons that are supposed to counter China. As if like China doesn't have their own AI companies doing exactly that, you know, like, so you're just, it's just an arms race, really. I mean,
I think what's happening now is there's just this massive acceleration and like the catch-up, like, yeah, it's like it's like this is now the dawn of the printing press, and it's kind of like, okay, let's see what the result is in a way, you know. But it is interesting to see how a lot of, I mean, the thing, Spotify as an example is like, to play like devil's advocate, like, you know, if streaming services didn't exist, it would be, I would argue, harder to get your like music out, because it is a way just to be like, this is here. I'm not saying
that's how the streaming services. Okay, you can look at it from a meta angle, but like, I think you should look at it from an individual perspective, because you can't control what the world's going to do. So if I was a musician, now if I'm not a big musician, I'm going to go on these streaming sites. They're going to screw me over. But I have no option. I need to get out there.
And it's something.
So I'm going to use it. But now if I'm like a famous person, for example, like if I'm, I don't know, like Taylor Swift or someone, I am just as big as these platforms now. So I'm going to try to transport all of my people onto my own version of a platform. Kind of like how Louis C.K. did back in the days. He was actually ahead of his time.
Yeah, he did it all.
He did it like before he was canceled.
Yeah.
He was just, I don't know, there was like, he's a bit like you, where he's like apprehensive of this stuff.
Yeah.
So what he did was he just made his own website.
Yeah.
And he would put up his like stand-ups or whatever, his tickets. So he doesn't have to go through like, Ticketek or anything.
Yeah.
It's all on his website.
Yeah.
He did it like back in 2015, 14, when as soon as you could have a website and cater to this stuff. But what it did was, because at the end of the day, dude, like fans are not loyal to the platform. They're loyal to the person.
Yeah.
So immediately I had no problems going on louisck.net to buy his stuff. And it ended up being way more profitable for him, because he was getting the whole thing, but that wasn't the point. And I think creators, particularly once they get big, need to look into this avenue of like how to reduce dependency and
it's just
also keep these platforms in check. If you're gonna exploit us, then at least the big ones are gonna leave you.
Exactly. I think it's just numbers. Because I have a friend of mine's band, they're like tiny, and they were like made a stand and left Spotify, and it's like, it's kind of like a storm in a teacup thing where it's
some of them it's like just marketing as well. Like that's how they get like
maybe because maybe it's just like it's like almost like a marketing thing. Hey, where it's like, we're different again because we're not on these platforms, but like, I don't know. All I know is like, I'm not sure what my stance is and all that, but like, I know that with streaming platforms, I think Spotify is pretty fucked, but like with these platforms, it's like, I wouldn't have, like, no one on a small level, no one, I know it's so much of it now is like AI playlists and bots and all this shit, but like, there's still like someone in like Sweden or something that like listened to one of my songs a lot, and that would never have happened without having someone put a lot of like a label or someone putting a lot of money and investing into you. So it's like, there are advantages to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you kind of have to use the tools that are available, even if they are, because this is what people, they're like, oh, it's not fair. It's like, dude, do you think record labels were fair? They would just they were worse. They'd just be like, take all your royalties, own the music, own the rights, take a cut of your tour money, everything. And then just like, we own you, like we're your pimp. And it's like, surely that's worse, It's like, you have some autonomy at least with these platforms where it's like, yeah, you're not going to make any money, but like, if that's money isn't the only getting people to hear it is a big part of it. So it's like, it's still pretty. At least in the early days, it was like a miracle. It was like crazy. It was like, oh, someone in England can just listen. They subscribe to this platform. They can just listen to your album. It's like, that's crazy. That still blows my mind.
Everyone has to do a deal with the devil. You just have to come up with your terms.
Exactly. Until you get massive, and then you can start to have options.
The thing is, once you do get massive, then these companies start treating you like you're royalty.
Exactly.
Because they know.
It's just the same old story. It's like power, popularity,
but I think
numbers.
like people that are at the top, they're getting really favorable deals. Like Spotify would give Joe Rogan $100 million for doing nothing except like,
because he's exclusively with them, eh?
Well, used to be. He changed again.
Oh, okay.
But just exclusive, $100 million.
Crazy.
That's a ridiculous amount. So that's how much they're willing to. And this is, years ago, right? The 100 million. If that deal happened today, it'd be like way more than that.
Yeah.
So these companies are obviously they know who has power.
Yeah.
And how to placate them. But I think it's the job of people like Joe Rogan and, you know, like Taylor Swift to be like, okay, I am getting a great deal out of it, but can I make an impact for the industry by like, you know, creating different options?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same old story, really. It's like you're basically like, unless you start to get sort of a bit of that sort of like influence just yourself, then you're kind of going to get screwed at some point. It's just how screwed are you going to get?
Exactly.
You know.
All right. Hey, did you hear about Trump's
ballroom
beef with Canada again?
Oh no!
The ballroom. What ballroom?
You see now he's like knocking down half the White House.
Yeah, that's right.
But dude, you know what's crazy? I mean, I haven't heard, tell me about the Canada thing. But did you see how the thing is knocked down is like 2/3 of the White House?
Yeah, it's a big portion.
Dude, what is he?
Dude,
can you do that?
Well, I mean, what do you expect when you send a construction builder into the White House?
Exactly. He's just
he looks at like 300-year-old stuff and goes like,
I can improve
this is old.
Yeah. I can
that's the point.
That's the point. And it's like he's just turning into this chat ballroom now for like an RSL. Why? It's so bad. I reckon he's gonna just tear the whole thing down and be like, make it. I'll redo it all. I can make it a lot.
Apparently, he's making a massive ballroom to entertain guests. It's like because he feels ashamed, dude.
Because he
that's why he was ashamed when he went to Qatar with his jet, and he was like, "Why is your jet so much better than mine?" And they're like, "We'll give you one, Mr. President." Okay, you get the deal.
Dude, he's a Saudi prince. That's what he is.
He's a Saudi prince.
100%.
Okay,
but no, what happened?
Like the Saudi prince. So what happened is that they were in the middle of negotiations over a trade deal.
Yeah.
And Trump watched this ad. This ad was bought by. I'll tell you more about it.
Yeah.
But he completely changed his view after that, and there's now a crisis because of this ad.
Oh my god!
So just listen to this ad.
When someone says, "Let's impose tariffs on foreign imports," it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing by protecting American products.
Is that Reagan?
Yeah.
And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition. America's jobs and growth are at stake.
Okay. This is a point.
So this was an ad.
But this is a poignant question now. Is that AI or did he actually say that?
Well, I'll get to that. So there's a whole. So this ad was bought by the Ontario government. Right. Not the Canadian government, so like New South Wales government instead of
like the
Australian
state
government. Yeah, state government. So Ontario is their most populous state, and it's also where Toronto is.
Oh yeah, like
so
east.
It would be quite equivalent to New South Wales.
Yeah, right.
So they bought this ad. Now Trump, in the middle of negotiations with the Canadian government, has cited this ad as the reason. So he saw this ad and he's terminated all negotiations with Canada.
What?
And he's like, F off.
Are you serious?
Now, he is claiming that this ad is manipulated, right? Now,
see, this is the future. This is what I'm saying.
But the thing is, this ad is not.
It's not AI.
Okay, I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
It's not AI.
Okay.
It's actually Ronald Reagan speaking. He made a speech. The thing that they've done is, and you can argue whether this is ethical or not, so it's not a continuous speech of this.
Okay.
So they've taken a big speech and they've cut it in bits and pieces.
Okay.
So like he'll say something and then the second portion of what he's saying in the ad might have come from like a different portion of his speech.
Yeah.
Right. So they've cut it up to make a point of like tariffs are bad and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, so I don't know. I guess so you could argue that that was bad on their part.
Yeah, but if they've just chopped it up, like he said that.
Not only did he say that, miss. So I've read the entire speech, right?
Oh, really?
And there is no other conclusion that you can come up with except for the fact that this man is saying tariffs are bad.
Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah,
So the gist of this ad
it's not that
is not opposite to what he was saying.
It's not that manipulative.
There's no context that they missed out.
Yeah.
The only difference is because this speech was made at a particular time when the U.S. government was advocating that Japanese semiconductors there's a tariff to be put on those because it's flooding the American market. There was a time when what they're saying about China, they were saying exactly the same thing about Japan.
Gotcha. When they were like killing it.
Yeah.
Japan
So
was
in his
killing
speech, he would be like, "Now I do understand the tariff on the Japanese semiconductors," and so he does qualify. I think obviously in his speech, he's trying to not antagonize his party.
Yeah.
He's saying like, okay, it's fine that you've done this with the Japanese, but know that this is not a good overarching policy.
Yeah.
That's what his point of view is. And so he was saying that tariffs are bad. He is saying that it seems good on the initially, but then so everything in this ad is true to what he was trying to say.
Yep.
But obviously, for Trump, it looks really bad.
Yeah.
Now, it is insane that he has halted trade negotiations between two countries over a stupid ad. Which, by the way, is not even like a complete... It's not even fake news. It's the ad, I think, is legitimate.
Yeah, it's not that crazy.
It's not that crazy.
Like, it's not AI.
It's not AI.
Like, just chopping his stuff out is not... Like, that's pretty... Yeah. He said that shit.
I think the chopping the stuff bit would be bad if what they were making him out to say is opposite to what he was trying to say or was very different to what he was trying to say.
Yeah, but
in this instance, that is not the case.
It's not the case. He was saying
He was saying that.
And, like...
Obviously, they don't want to include the entire speech, so they pick the portions. Now, they do have an agenda, obviously.
Yeah, of course, but like it's not.
But their agenda was the same as Reagan's agenda.
Like to chop to just to take points out of one speech is not that crazy. I don't understand how Trump is that pissed. Like, okay, here's a question: did Trump even know that Reagan said this shit? Because he loves Reagan.
Well, okay, so the thing is, I don't know, dude. I don't know how much Trump reads. So I don't. But the thing is, but what we do know is that Trump likes to look himself as Reagan, right? And he believes that Reagan was one of the most pivotal presidents of the 20th century.
Sure. Yeah, he's privatizing and free market and all that.
Yeah, and Trump likes to look at himself as a Reaganist. I think he also looks at himself as like Reagan because Reagan was an actor. He was a guy from showbiz
handsome and shit.
Yeah, and all of that stuff. So I think Trump obviously takes some inspiration from Reagan. And the idea that Reagan is outright saying something that
pisses him off.
It pisses him off.
It's the whole thing of like picking and choosing facts, right? He obviously likes to pick and choose, but like if someone's like Reagan said that,
he's using Reagan like the Bible, which is that he looks at the parts that work with his agenda and he goes like, look, that's what they said, and ignores all the parts that are against it.
But surely the right move, even if he stops trade deals, is to be like, Reagan might have said that, but different context. I disagree with that.
Yeah, but he's a narcissist. He's not going to do that.
So it's just
it'd be weird. It'd be like I would start believing that the reptilian theory is correct if he says that. I was like, dude, that is out of character. Is this a Freaky Friday situation going on? Where's the real Trump?
Dude, what is it? That's crazy. What is like over an ad?
Over an ad, it's insane.
Like, what if people say like, what if people were to say to him like, dude, he did say that stuff. It wasn't.
Well, no one has the balls to say that to him.
Shit, he's really
obviously he's gonna be like, what is this at? And there'd be like a million people telling him, well, they've cut it up. It's not even how it's supposed to be. No one is going to be like, hey, Trump, look. This.
He said
Reagan did say that.
Yeah.
And you might disagree with Reagan.
He can.
But you can't pretend that I am exactly the same as Reagan and then do something that is completely opposite to what he would believe.
Yeah.
He was a free market guy. He reduced trade barriers. Now you can say that he was wrong.
Yeah.
And to some extent, I'd agree with you. There's no love for Reagan. Reagan did a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
But but you can't pretend he did something that he didn't.
Dude, I said this before, but like, I was like initially just like being like, yeah, drain the swamp, like Trump. I was like, yeah, why not? This will be sick. But the second term is just like, he is acting. He's acting like a socialist for like private private firms and big companies. He's like bailouts to Argentina or whatever. Like just bail like, but then also like very authoritarian with like, the states have to listen to what I say. It's like he's not acting like a what you'd say. I suppose in some ways he is with his like immigration stuff and his rhetoric is conservative, but like how he's behaving is like not. It's not like what would be considered conservative at all, right?
Yeah, look, everyone says I've talked about it.
Crazy.
It is crazy. I've talked about this on one of the pre-shows. I didn't purposely do it on the main pod because I just think it's like it's theoretical and it's not concrete. But my theory on what Trump is doing with Canada and, for example, what he's doing with Venezuela.
Yeah, like bombing.
Have you seen? Yeah, so... And I've been saying this ever since he started hitting those drug boats.
Yeah.
I've been arguing that this is a regime change policy, which I think now is pretty clear. So this is something that America used to do before, which is that they would, particularly in their own neighborhood, they would provoke a reaction if they want a regime change.
And
so they will test a country where, like, you know, for whatever excuse, drugs, people smuggling, crime, and then they'll start like testing the sovereignty and territorial integrity of a country, hoping that there's a reaction.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to like convince the American population to go to war without having faced any threat.
Yeah.
So once they do get a threat where like a boat's attacked or something, then they have an excuse to then regime change. Yeah. But the reason why he wants to, this is my feeling of what Trump is thinking in his head. Trump thinks that this U.S. dominated globe is over and we are losing out on this.
Right.
So he's actually dividing the world into spheres of influence.
Right.
Which is why he's doing a deal with China, which, by the way, he supposedly they've inked it out today, where China and U.S. will have a deal, which is why I think he wanted to like settle the Ukraine-Russia war.
Right.
But because he wasn't able to, he's now withdrawn.
Right.
I don't think he cares about that as much. But what he does care about now is his own hemisphere, which is the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
So if you're in Canada, US, North America, or South America, Trump believes you to be in his playground, which means that there's going to be no dissent tolerated. So, for example, if Argentina has a government, like the current government, which is America friendly, he's going to support you till the end, which is why he's giving a $20 billion bailout to Argentina. But if you have a not so friendly government, for example, in Brazil, then he's going to put pressure on you and he's going to support the opposition.
Yeah.
Which is in this case Bolsonaro. Even though Bolsonaro is in prison, Trump supports him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't care about Bolsonaro. He wants a America-friendly government.
Yeah.
When it comes to a country like Venezuela, which has been rogue for a while now, Trump has decided, I think, that he wants the entire hemisphere to be pro-friendly. So if there's a government that's gone completely rogue, like Venezuela, either they fall in line, and by falling in line, it means give American government and American companies access to their economy and their resources.
Yeah.
If you can do that, then you can stay in power. If you're not going to do that, then they're going to force a regime change on you.
It's like old school, like what they did to Cuba, right?
Yes. And in case of Canada, I think in Trump and the factions that Trump are supported by Trump, they have this fantasy of Canada being a part of America. The reason why they want Canada to be America is because they believe, well, again, I don't know. This is conjecture. People have commented on it. I can't really tell what is going in people's minds. But one argument is that the U.S. military now feels that if there was a world war where you have China and Russia on one side, or even just China on one side, and maybe Russia being neutral or America, either way, the battle will be amongst hemispheres, and U.S. cannot afford to have a divided chain of command. So Canada's military can't be an allied military, but it needs to come under the U.S. military.
Yeah.
Because so the U.S. generals don't want to deal with Canadian, even their friendly generals in a state of war. They want to supersede Canada. And they just want to use the geography of Canada, which is and by the way, they want to do the same thing with Greenland because it falls under the same hemisphere. Yeah. So you've got U.S., Canada on top, and then Greenland on top, which should come under, in the U.S. military point of view, a unified military command.
Right.
Now, to be able to do this is a whole different thing, but that is his wet dream. And so the U.S., I think, wants Canada to be completely subservient and completely fall in line.
Jesus. Yeah. It's what was like the Biden era's government in relation to like South America, like Venezuela and
So, okay, this is again my view, and I've been saying this is something that I think what Trump is doing is probably right from an American point of view.
Really? Yeah.
I've always felt that America was too focused overseas in Middle East and in Central Asia, and very little focused on its literal own backyard. You've got Cuba, which has gone rogue, Venezuela, which has gone from an American point of view. I'm saying all of this, which has gone rogue. By the way, they are constantly exporting drugs and crime, which is it's not a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
South America's contribution to the drug.
Yeah. But they're also America's buying it.
Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm not saying that this is, but what I'm saying is like a state should be able to control their own backyard before they're able to project power overseas.
Right.
And I've always thought that like American probably, if it wants to be a serious power, it needs to consolidate its base first.
Yeah.
Now, in the case, now, I have always been supportive of leftist ideas. I'm not saying that this is the right way, but if I look at a country like Venezuela, it is prime for regime change.
Right.
So right now, Venezuela.
What's their government? What's the go? Is it like military coup or something? Or
So Venezuela, there's a history for Venezuela as well. So Venezuela used to be an American sort of, is exactly what Trump wants it to be, which is it used to be
proxy.
The government was very, very subservient to the U.S. It also has a lot of oil.
Yeah.
The most oil in the world, actually. It has probably the largest deposit of oil in the world, which is what makes it really important too. But it used to be a client state of the U.S. And then what happened was that through a whole bunch of leftist movements in all South America, it eventually came to Venezuela, where the people, quite in a revolutionary way, overthrew the government.
Right.
And there was this guy called Hugo Chavez, if you remember.
Yeah.
He became the president of Venezuela, and he took control. And he was supported by a vast majority of poor Venezuelans who believed that our government was completely subservient to America. Our resources were being plundered by American companies. We weren't getting anything out of it.
Yep.
We remained poor, where a tiny section of our country, gets richer and richer. And so it became really potent. So when Hugo Chavez came in, he took over the country. Americans did not like it, obviously.
Yeah.
So they orchestrated a coup against Hugo Chavez.
Right.
They overthrew him, but his popular support was so intense that the people revolted.
Right.
Brought him back, got rid of the puppets that the Americans had put in. And there's a documentary called Revolution Will Not Be Televised, which I'm sure a lot of millennials have seen because it was a very popular one back in the day. But it sort of recounts the exact moment when Hugo Chavez was overthrown, put into custody, and then the people brought him back and put him back on the throne and said, "You are our leader, fuck everyone else." And ever since then, U.S. realized that their CIA tactics of overthrowing are limited. He clearly has massive political support.
Yeah.
So then they moved towards the strategy, which they did with Cuba, which is to isolate them.
Right.
And to basically give them no support and hope that the government would eventually collapse. That didn't happen. Chavez, because obviously when you have a lot of oil, it helps maintain yourself. Yeah. So Chavez maintained government and was very popular still, because what he did was he essentially used the money and he would give people handouts. Mm-hmm. He got a lot of peasants to take over land that was initially owned by big landlords, kind of a very leftist, socialist kind of a revolution. He used the oil revenue to essentially placate a lot of the working classes, give them money, which consolidified his support. And he created something called, I don't know what the official term is, but like in popular discourse, they're called as the Chavistas. There's an army of people that are originally from the working classes of Venezuela that formed as the paramilitary group that supported Chavez. Right. And now it's currently supporting the new regime, which is the Maduro regime. Right. So Maduro is a successor to Chavez.
Right. So there's still,
Yeah. Now, but the thing is, a lot has happened since Chavez. Chavez is like absolute support for the absolute support that he enjoyed in Venezuela. I think obviously died with him. Now Maduro is still popular amongst the Chavistas, and they are the military group that provide him the most amount of support. But they are kind of ruling in a very authoritarian way, and because Venezuelan economy, even though it's so oil rich, is so underperforming, and it's like one of the poorest in the world. Where like a lot of the people that were supportive of the leftist revolution are now disillusioned, because they're like, well, Chavez is dead. Who's this guy? We're not really getting the benefits of it. Maduro is still whatever revenue that he gets from his oil. One of the issues with Venezuela is that oil is very dirty, so it needs refining and processing. Which Venezuela does not have a lot of indigenous. So even his oil revenue has shrunk. But whatever he does get, after propping his own regime, he forwards in form of patronage to the Chavistas, because they're essentially giving him support. Now, in this situation, and that's the status quo in Venezuela, where I would argue that a majority of the population is not for the current government. There is a sizable portion that support him and also provide the paramilitary force. So it's essentially a deadlock where the people can't overthrow him because the threat of violence is too high. Now, in this situation, if I think this is a potent area for regime change. So,
yeah, but does that mean that does regime change only mean some like American figurehead being like hell pro-America and just, you know what I mean? Is it one or the other?
Well, that's the only option. I guess and this is the other thing that has attracted the wrath of Americans is that if you are Maduro, what's your option?
Oh, you have to just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, but like who do you get support from?
The Chavistas or whatever, I suppose.
But the Chavistas, so even if, what they're doing is what South American countries used to do in the Cold War days, which is they attract Chinese investment. They think like if America's, in order to protect ourselves from America, we need some kind of Chinese investments or Chinese support. Now the Chinese in no way are going to do what is expected of them, which is to provide military support in terms of war. Chinese are not stupid enough to do that. But what they do like is the idea of having some kind of leverage over US. Which is that if you mess with Taiwan so much, Venezuela can have some problems. Like that kind of leverage.
Jesus.
But the thing is, these regimes that are anti-American rely on the Chinese. They used to do it with the Soviet Union, but now whoever is essentially going to give them support. If Russia is going to give them support, they'll take it from them. But that is such a dangerous path for these countries because you do not want to attract the wrath of... Like, okay, if you believe that the Chinese will support you if America invades you, just look at the examples of Ukraine. How much did America support Ukraine when it came to a fight with Russia? Do you really think Russia and China will support Venezuela to that level? They're going to abandon you. So
for South Americans, they can't catch a break, eh? Like, just generally. I
mean, like, I honestly think, and this is going to be a ridiculous thing for someone that was all about South American revolutionary movement, is like, dude, if there is a regime change in Venezuela and there is a pro-American government, I think it will be better for Venezuela.
Really?
They have a very effed up system at the moment. Shit. Like, this is not some, utopian leftist government that is doing great, where they don't even have the talking points that Cuba has, which is like, we have the most amount of doctors and stuff.
Because Cuba's killing it, right?
They're not killing it. I mean, they are going through, like, they've invested a lot in health and education, which by the way, Venezuela also did, but it's not good enough. Same, It's not really good enough. So, if I was in America's hemisphere, which is if I was in South America or North America, if I'm Canada, Venezuela, Colombia, I would try to stay on America's good side.
Can you just give me a rundown? Okay, South America. What government in each country? Which government's like pro-America, puppety America, and which is not? Just roll them off.
Okay, so there's 3 categories. One is pro-America, which is we are completely on the side of Americans. Anything that the government's compromised. Then the second one is we're neutral. on some issues we want to be with America, but on many issues we'll tell America.
Is that like
no.
Brazil?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the third category is we're anti-Americans.
Yeah.
We don't want Americans. If you're going to isolate us, fine.
I think I can
we'll
guess
be
them all.
isolated.
I think I can guess what's what.
Yeah.
So, middle would be like Brazil, Mexico.
I would argue Mexico is in the first category, but yeah, Brazil.
Okay. Chile probably. Middle.
Even Chile, like
Okay, you tell me
Bolivia, Uruguay. It like depends. So these are countries which it would change depending on who's in power.
Yeah,
So these are countries usually which have a pro-American side of politics
It depends.
and a not so American side of politics. They're not anti-Americans because that would be enough to get them taken out. So they're like, in some cases we want to be with America, in some cases we don't want to be. So these countries depend on whoever is in power. So in Brazil, for example, Lula is in power, who
so
is
he's
a neutral guy.
Yeah.
But before that, Bolsonaro was in power, who was a pro-American guy.
Yeah.
So these are swing states, let's just say. And then there's anti-American states. These are restricted to Cuba and Venezuela.
Colombia?
No, Colombia is not that. Colombia is actually pro-American. Like the thing with Colombia is that America has an issue with gangs and the inability for the state to control some of its elements.
Right.
But the state is still working with them, which is different from Venezuela, where the state itself is undermining the U.S.
Yeah, interesting.
So America's new way of thinking about it is that if you belong into the anti-U.S. category, you are no longer allowed to exist. Either you move to neutral, and preferably, let's start off with to build trust, pro-U.S. neutral country. To build trust, we start off over there. If you're not going to move over there, we're going to do regime change in your country. That's the new philosophy.
Damn.
If you're pro-America, then America will show support to you.
Yeah.
If you're going through some kind of economic crisis, America will help you, blah, 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 all of that, as long as you lay open your resources and economy for Americans.
So with Argentina, are they just like all of their resources, I don't even know if they have any, but are they just being funneled to America basically?
No, they're not being funneled to America. At the moment, Argentina is going through like a very chronic balance of payment, currency issues, right?
Yeah.
So at the moment, and Argentina doesn't have necessarily huge amounts of like natural resources like Brazil and Venezuela do. However, Argentina it's kind of like Australia. It's a rich agricultural place. It has the potential to have a big economy, and it's being underplayed. So right now, American interest in Argentina is for a pro-US government to remain intact. And once that happens, then perhaps they can. Argentinian economy has a lot of potential.
Right.
Yeah. So America would want to keep that.
Damn, it's so it's so crazy down there. Like, yeah, shit.
Yeah, but like I believe that anyone in South America or North America, if it goes too against America in this new world that we're living in, they're inviting invasion or like a covert regime change.
Shit. So, but currently it is just like Venezuela, really, and like Cuba, but that's it.
And obviously, they're putting pressure on a lot of those countries that had certain policies that were tolerated before because their overall vibe was pro-American, that they're asking them to now change those policies otherwise. So, for example, U.S. has pressure on Mexico. Now, Mexico is a pro-U.S. government, but there were certain things in Mexico that were happening that the either Mexican government was unable to control or in some cases unwilling to control for economic reasons that were being tolerated by U.S. for the sheer fact that they were pro-U.S.
Right.
So because your government is pro-U.S., we'll let some of this drug stuff slide.
Right.
I mean, we'll stop it over there, but we're not going to like complete. But if it gets too much, then we're going to come into your country and with you guys, we'll attack these gangs, whoever is causing it. But I think like the new Trump philosophy is that you control this or you're going to suffer consequences.
Right. Jeez, fuck. Yeah. You'd be stressing if you were whoever's in Venezuela, right? You'd be like,
oh yeah,
God.
Absolutely.
I'm surprised that you're saying that they'd be better off having a new government
Venezuela
change.
is a basket case. I don't like to be like, just because I believe in leftist, like doesn't mean that I have to blindly side with like a terrible regime.
I just don't understand how, are they like super corrupt? The government?
They're not super corrupt, but like, man, they're just underutilizing their economy to make a point. And they're only doing this because the group of people that have control want to keep control.
Right.
Because they know if things change, then they'll lose their control.
I just don't understand how you could be not killing it when you have like oil reserves and chill peasants.
I mean, it's called a resource curse. Like Australia is one of the few countries that hasn't gone stuck into the resource curse.
I've never heard of that resource curse because we can. Why are we not in that? I suppose we can.
So the first thing
we can refine our minerals.
It's not about any of that.
Oh.
A country like Nigeria, which has tremendous amounts of resources, or a country like Congo, are some of the poorest countries in the world, even though they have these vast riches underneath.
Yeah, right.
And what happens is that when there are resources in the country, two things can happen.
Yeah.
Number one, there's going to be multiple factions within your country that will fight to control those resources. And if the comparison between these different factions is too equal, then you're in a perpetual state of war.
Right.
And when that's happening, when there's instability, you're unable to actually use those resources because there's too much fight. So a company or a foreign energy company will not invest in a country where there's a lot of instability. They'd be like, let's go to Australia. They've got resources and I don't have to worry about all of this shit. I'll pay extra, but I'd prefer that, you know? So there's like that fight that happens, which stops it. The other issue that happens is that, and this is just a human trait, which is a horrible one, is that when you see resources in your country and you see them being exploited by a foreign company, you feel that it's being taken away from you. That these are our resources, and these big companies are benefiting from it. Why am I not getting anything? The fact of the matter is, in most instances, foreign companies are doing this is because you don't have the indigenous capability to do it.
Right.
Right? That's why you need foreigners.
Right.
And the resources underneath your feet are not in itself to give you money. It takes multiple steps for it to become money. First, you need to pull it out. You need to pull it out in a cost-effective way where you can compete with other resources coming from different countries. And once you do it, you need a market and you need a stable market. There's a lot of factors that come into it.
Yeah.
Can you hear this weird sound?
He's outside.
Anyways, there's a lot of factors that come into it. But when there's too much fighting, you're not able to realize that potential.
Shit.
In Venezuela's case, they do produce oil. That's where most of their money is coming from. But like I said, because they have a particular version of oil, which is heavy on impurities, which by the way, so does the Middle East, but like there's ways to extract it and process it. They don't have that capacity, or their capacity is reducing, and there's not enough investment from oil companies to be able to update that they're actually losing revenue. So if I'm a Venezuelan, I look at the status quo and I go, okay, sure, I don't have a brutal right-wing regime controlling me, but at the same point, my economy is extremely underutilized. My resources are not, we're not being able to earn the most from it. We're not being able to value add from it. My government is essentially is getting all of its strength from a paramilitary force as opposed to people's power. Like when I see all of this, I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to rejig the system, you know?
Shit. It's just cyclical. It's bizarre. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all cyclical. It's just like
And I think just generally speaking, it is a smarter move to have the great power of your region to be on your side, you know?
Yeah.
If you're neighboring China, you don't want to mess with China.
Yeah.
If you're neighboring Russia, you don't want to mess with Russia. And similarly, if you're neighboring US, you don't want to mess with the US.
Yeah. Who's the most kind of, let's say, for lack of a better term, well-off country in South America in terms of like wealthiest, most stable, maybe just wealthiest?
Mexico, I suppose. I mean, Brazil would be because it's the biggest country.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like
That's
per
true.
capita income is what you're going to be asking for, right?
Yeah.
So highest.
Yeah, per capita income. I suppose is that a good reflection on if a country's doing well?
It's not the best, but it's better than to like just base it on solely on GDP, because that some countries have 200 million people and some have 10 million. You're not going to have the same GDP.
Yeah. I mean, like per capita rather than like, because obviously more numbers.
I would imagine Mexico is the one.
Okay.
Uh,
Or whichever country is the most well off, you know. But by I suppose you're right. The numbers are going to be the.
Okay, so. All right, you've got. This is, okay. Guyana at the top.
Where the hell's that?
It's in South America. It's in the Caribbean, but it's a small place, and I'm sure it's getting a lot of its money from like safe havens.
Yeah.
Uruguay, Chile. So Chile has a lot of natural resources. Now Chile is also an example in South America that has been able to utilize its resources, in a better way. Let's say compared to other countries.
Uruguay as well.
And then you've got Argentina, Brazil. Where's Mexico?
Shit.
Mexico isn't even on this list. Okay, one second.
Interesting.
Mexico per capita.
Uruguay is supposed to be pretty nice.
Yeah, it says they're $25,000. Yeah, I don't know why Mexico is. Oh, because Mexico is technically North America.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So yeah, it is Mexico. Mexico is $25,000. The second one is Uruguay.
Yep.
Third, Chile, and then Argentina and Brazil.
Okay.
But again, why is Mexico better than the others?
I don't know.
First of all, it neighbors U.S., so it has direct access to the U.S. economy.
Yeah, the markets.
But it also hasn't antagonized the U.S. So U.S. can,
So they're quite
trades with them.
So they're quite because I think their prime minister or whatever is like female, and I think she has said some like strong words about Trump, but like.
Yeah, but these are like, but so has India, so has Canada.
Yeah.
These aren't like
But their
strategic.
But their policies are chill, like on America.
Yeah, well, they try to keep them as chill as possible. They don't want to mess. No one wants to mess with America, and which I think is the best way to go about it. You'll gain the most out of it. Now, I'm sure that if America wasn't pressurizing you, and you could still have access to the American market, maybe your per capita income would be $35,000. I'm not saying that what America is doing is absolutely great for your economy, but have you seen Venezuela's per capita income with like unlimited oil?
Yeah,
I'd rather be like,
I'm surprised.
I'd rather give 10,000 of my extra income to the U.S. if the alternative was that everyone has a $5,000. I don't know.
It's strange, isn't it? Thinking Mexico. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, for all intents and purposes, Mexico is kind of growing, right? In terms of their wealth, it's like a country on the up, right?
I mean, recently they've had some issues with
drug stuff's really bad.
NAFTA was really good for them.
Oh yeah.
NAFTA allowed them to essentially just become America's labor force.
Oh yeah.
In many ways, and credit to them. Then they learned a few things, and then they started, assembling auto plants and all this stuff to essentially just cater to the Texas economy more than anything else.
Yes, because they're very intertwined. Texas.
Texas most of the Mexican exports actually go to Texas.
Yeah.
So, that's where they're at.
It's so interesting. It's just. It always makes me realize, I'm like, man, we're lucky in Australia. Yeah, at least for now.
Yeah, we have we're almost in our own region.
Yeah,
which is a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah, we're isolated, but
I mean, we are in Asia, but we're a bit far from Asia.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's
we're not Korea, which is like a stone throw away.
Yeah.
You need to chuck that rock pretty far before it comes to us.
That's true.
I guess we Northern Territory is close. I get that.
Yeah.
But then we just don't have Northern Territory. We also have all of the land mass. So if someone messes with Northern Territory, there's a lot of room for us to,
I've never been in the Northern Territory, and it's the same country.
We have what's called in military terms strategic depth. We have a lot of it. Strategic depth is...
It's a big country.
Yeah, it's a big country. It's when your big urban population centers are attacked. Does your military have the capacity to withdraw into a region, recoup, and then come back?
Yes.
Some countries just don't have that kind of real estate.
Yeah.
We do. We have a lot of it.
It's amazing realizing how big Australia is. Like even flying from Seoul to Jeju Island, which is literally the length of Korea, an hour or two or something. I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
it's nothing.
I'm like, bruh, you could just drive this. It's chill.
Dude, it takes you an hour or two to get to places within Sydney.
Yeah. Or Australia, like definitely.
I mean,
driving to
you
Brisbane,
could drive for like 10 hours and still be in the same state.
I've driven to Brisbane. It's like 12 hours,
Yeah.
dude. It's like,
But then Brisbane is also, think about it this way, miss. Brisbane is at the southern tip of Queensland. So you've just entered Queensland.
it's hard. It's actually hard.
If you
to
go
believe.
from Brisbane to Cairns,
oh, yeah,
oh, bro, you could drive for ages.
it's insane.
Yeah, you could just keep driving.
It's very lucky in that respect, but it's strange. It's a strange. It feels like a strange land like that too. I think that's why there's this. I think that's why there's a lot of that, like both folklore and reality of isolation in Australia. Like it's almost like an isolated state of mind, where it's like, where are you from? It's like that wandering in the desert thing. It's like, I'm from here. It's like like kind of monoculture, but then it's very isolated. It's such an everyone's so isolated. It's like that, like, I don't know, that image of like some dude alone in a shed. That's a lot of the country.
It is.
But yeah, South America is.
But we're
crazy
also
example.
dependent on the world, you know. We can't be by ourselves. We have to sell to the world.
No, massively. Like that's the only thing really, which is probably a problem too, to be super dependent on just like exports and minerals and stuff.
Well,
But
that's
yeah.
we can't really change that. And some people have advocated it and gotten into a lot of trouble because that means big Australia.
Oh yeah, well, obviously can't do that.
So if you don't want to depend on exports, you have to go towards big Australia.
Really?
That's my viewpoint.
Oh, you reckon? Pass.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to become big Australia,
There's
but I'm
gotta
saying
be
like
another alternative.
if you want to be
Invest in like microchips or something. Make
again, you're
factories.
dependent on others. So if you invest in microchips, then you have to sell those microchips.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a population big enough to sustain a microchip industry.
So we don't have the population.
That's
to
why we
sustain
always
anything?
end up getting monopolies. You know how like there's always Woolworths, Coles, Aldi.
Yes.
Telstra, Optus.
Yeah.
The reason why we end up with monopolies is that like our population base is small enough that vigorous competition between multiple actors is not possible.
That makes sense.
So a few companies will end up taking over a huge
Yes.
market share and then essentially monopolize.
That makes a lot. That's you just put that so like sensical. That makes sense. So, like
We're a small population, dude. And also,
Yeah.
not only are we a small population, but we live so far away from each other
yeah, exactly.
that logistics and everything,
Yeah.
it just, I think
But
the
surely-
only population centers in Australia that make economical sense are Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne.
right.
You know, all regions don't make economic sense to do it. Like, we do it
Yeah.
as a subsidized thing.
Yes. I mean, Perth only exists from the mining,
Oh, and Perth as well.
but
like,
that's just the mining. It's just mining.
well, it's mining, but it also, again, is so detached
So
from
far.
the East Coast.
and it feels far away.
So that's the hand that we're dealt with.
It's kind of weird. It's very weird going to Perth and then going to some like beach there, and then you're just like, I'm like, are you guys like? I had this thing, and I'm like, there's a different like there must be some fundamental cultural differences being so far. There's something, and it's like the sun sets over the ocean. I'm like, yeah, but like, what else is there? It's like nothing. Do you want a beer? I'm like, it's even the same beer.
Dude,
it's
you
so
know-
far.
Perth is the most isolated city in the
I
world.
know, but it feels like that. But it's also like
Its closest urban center is Adelaide, which is like 2,000 k's away.
which is also tiny.
Yeah,
Like feels tiny.
yeah, but it's we live in one of the most isolated
It's just-
continent, and then within that we live extremely isolated in our cities.
It's just a strange place. That's the only thing. It's just like, yeah, it's like in Europe you fly an hour and it's like a different language. Here you fly 6 hours and it's like literally like it's like it's exactly what it feels like. It's like a kind of like sort of blip outpost. You know, I don't know. It's like apart from it's like miners who haven't met, but you know they're there, and like musos, and I'm like, how do you even? What do you do for work? And I don't even know what the hell they do. They're like, we hope to become like famous musicians, or we're like screwed.
I mean, everyone's living the dream.
It's just I don't know. It's a strange place. But South America is on the list. I want to check it out.
Yeah.
What's this? Before we go, what's the safest country in South America?
Oh, actually, maybe Chile. I don't know.
Yeah, or
maybe
like
Uruguay.
yeah, because they're higher There's no like
higher
there's no like
per capita
slums
income.
in like Chile.
I'm sure there are slums in Chile as well.
Really?
They're not like first world countries,
Right,
but they're
right.
kind of like in the mid tier.
But there
countries.
is constantly this undercurrent of crime in those areas. Like I met someone.
Yeah,
from
dude, big populations and poverty.
Yeah. Like I met someone from Chile, and they were saying like, "Oh, it's beautiful," but like, they're like, "Oh, yeah." Like when I was growing up, you didn't have to lock your doors, and they're like, "Now you have to lock your doors." And then she was also like, "Oh yeah, my parents were kidnapped." I'm like, "You said that? That's
dude.
insane."
Funnily enough, of the amount most South Americans that I've met in Australia, they all kind of wanted to stick around,
stay there,
stay in Australia.
Oh,
right?
oh, yeah. There's a shit ton now. It's like when I was a kid, dude. A person from South America was like, I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Except for the people that I've met from Chile, they always had this thing of like, oh no, I'm just gonna go back.
Yeah.
I'm here to like have some fun or maybe study.
So that's
and so that kind of tells you like what their countries.
Yeah, there's like they're doing pretty well.
You got to go back to something,
Yeah.
You don't go back to nothing.
No, no. I'm sure people in like Guatemala don't want to go back. I assume. I don't know.
Oh no, yeah, Guatemala is one of those like chronic places as well. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining us for this episode. We hope you enjoyed yourself.
Thank you.
Please subscribe to the Friendlyjordies podcast Patreon page because we're going to be doing an up late.
Yeah.
And no questions about Mr. Jimmy because we can't answer any of those questions.
Yeah, they'll time will tell. But thanks for joining us on
Have fun.
Jordies/Shawarma.
We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.